I can hear you now.
All right. You can hear me. I was gonna be like, all right, if it doesn't work on the third one, we'll have to do it another time. But
Yeah.
what's going on?
Good, good. Just finished work. Um,
Nice.
new.
I know. I was just I was just in there looking at it. I was like, damn, your chart is like one of the best looking ones because you see how like the color changes as you get lower.
Yeah. Every time I see that light brighten and not yellow, I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
But today it's even lower. I haven't even entered it yet.
What was today?
Today was, let me see quickly. Uh, 172.8.
God damn,
What's
172.
happening? I was like, this is, yeah. So I'm really happy. I'm feeling good.
So
I was finding a hard time breaking through that, those sevens and those sixes. And when it hit four, I was like, yes. And then this
yep,
morning was two. I was like, okay.
yep. That's
Um,
why. So I'll give some context. I mean, you know how we are. Like, I don't do this like. I'll give a little context about the podcast too. It's the podcast is not really like, oh, we're trying to gain, 1 million listeners and this and that. Like, I don't fucking care about that. It's
mhm.
more just like if a person happens to stumble upon what we do and how we do it and they are interested,
Yeah.
it's just really for that person. That's it.
Right. Right.
um and also more for just clients, really. Like, when I have a conversation, I think of something and then I'm like, oh, okay, like this will be helpful to just record it in the podcast and share it
Mm.
with clients. So
Yeah.
to give context, you started at 195 or 96? Yeah,
I think it's at
196.
196 and change with you.
And prior to that, you had already lost.
I had already I started at 207 in February, February 8th. And I think you and I joined together. I want to say maybe April 21st. I think we started,
Yep,
finally started. Yeah.
yep. And then, so you today was your new all time low of
0.8.
172.8. So that is about 23 pounds. And then uh, like 35 pounds since February.
Mm-hmm.
So first and foremost, congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks.
February to now. The thing to kind of focus on there is like February to now. That's 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know how we always talk about, like, we always want to go fast, but that's the problem. it's
Yeah.
like, it's like it seems slow, but now that you're looking back on 7 months, it's like, well, that's a lot of progress for 7 months,
Yeah.
and the way you did it was far more enjoyable than actually. That's a good question. What's been the difference from that first initial weight that you already lost since February till April, and then from April till now? Like, what has been like the biggest things that stick out to you?
I think the biggest thing for me was I between February 8th to the April 21st until we started working together, I did lose some weight prior to us starting, but it was such a struggle. I was up and down with a like point 0.2, point 0.1, point 0.2. And it was just I started to get a little frustrated because I couldn't figure out what I could tweak, or like, you always say, to close that gap. I couldn't figure out what was I doing wrong that was,
Yeah.
causing, because as soon as I started with you, it just started to take off from there.
Yep.
So
Yeah, there was uncertainty.
yeah, so the two things that I can think of like right off the bat was, first and foremost, the walking.
Yep.
When you added that to my regimental walk, like the 10,000 steps, I think that really took a turn for me.
Yep.
And then, the discussion between you and I regarding how I think you kept me pretty much on the same deficit that I was working with a 15 calorie deficit, but I was kind of doing that anywhere in there. Like you gave me specifics, and I think you started me at 15:10.
Yep.
So I think it was the talking to me about being comfortable eating. I was cutting things out.
We actually we started at 16:10.
Oh, we started at see, we starting at 16:10. I was like, why am I losing weight now?
Yep.
And I think it was because I was struggling with cutting things out at that time too, prior to meeting you. I think I was cutting out carbs and sugar and all that stuff.
Yep.
So I was already frustrated within 3 months. I was frustrated and I wanted to quit. And I remember saying to you, I'm going to talk to you in 3 months and I'm going to tell you I don't want to quit. And I'm not sure if I want to start. And you were like, why? You were like, what? Why would you want to quit in 3 months? I said, I don't know. I just keep quitting. And that's why.
Yeah.
It was because of that.
And so speaking of the calories, like you've been losing steadily,
Hmm.
and we've been bumping calories up, which is,
Hmm.
I was actually gonna say we're probably gonna bump up again pretty soon.
Hmm.
But you're not. We've been doing 17:10, like nothing crazy, nothing fancy. We just
Nope.
17:10
Yep.
across the board every week. you
Hmm.
know
Yep.
that's one of the things that I always, and a lot of our conversations have been like, you'll have a question or things will come up, and then I'm not ever gonna really tell you anything special or new. It's just gonna be what, refocusing on the two or three things that actually matter,
Yeah. I
right?
think, and that has really worked better for me. Like the simplicity and you keeping things the same and consistent, even when I felt like, I think I had a couple of days, like I had a couple of moments, like maybe days or a couple of days in a row where, but that was my own, like was that was my own fault. Like things would come up. I would get home from work or, just things are crazy and I would go over my calories. So that was just on me. It was never and I just had to get my mind back again. And that's when you would get those questions from me.
Yep. Yep.
You'd be like,
which
okay, so you had
which
5 days. So what?
exact and the thing is, people, man, like those questions, they're not good or bad. It's how you kind of approach them, because I want you to have a question, because then when we look at it, and you see like, oh, I see what I'm doing, like, I want you to realize that, because at the end of it, it's not going to be like, oh, I need Ranbir to help me, or anybody for that matter. It's like, exactly how the system works. You
Mm-hmm.
know exactly what needs to be done. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
I
and you're
think some
self
of it,
sufficient.
yeah, I would go into this phase for like a couple of days. I kind of, not necessary. And, for me, when I say this, I don't mean that, you've given me a calorie deficit of, say, 1710. And when I say that, I get myself into a little funk for a couple of days. And then I start like panicking, not panicking, but I start to think, oh, come on, Monique. And I start frustrating myself. And it pushes me into another 2, 3 days. And that's when you get my calls.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so what's 10 days isn't shit. And I was like, you know
No.
what? Refocus your brain, Monique, and like calm down and refocus. And once you get me back and focus really quick. And it's just usually 5 or 6 words. And then I snap back into it.
Well, and I think a big skill set that is important, and you've done a really good job. Those those panic moments and those conversations, that's where you develop the skill set of actually learning how to look at information and data, because everybody thinks they're data driven, but the
Hmm.
purpose of data is not to drive yourself insane. The purpose
Hmm.
of data is to uh give you direction, but that doesn't mean you like look at it. I mean, our terminology, we go, frequency of exposure, right? Like, how
Hmm.
often are you exposing yourself to the emotional ups and downs? Like, I don't know if it was our conversation where I was like, I track everything, but
Hmm.
I rarely look at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that helped me actually, because I think what was happening was I was getting myself frustrated on each day that I maybe went over my calories or didn't see progress on the scale in the morning. And I'm thinking, and then so once I get myself frustrated enough and I contact you and say, hey, look, I'm having a couple bad days. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And then you would refocus me back. It's not day to day, it's a couple of days.
Yeah.
So, and then it just puts me right back into perspective. So I think that's what, I would lean on you a lot for. That
Yeah.
really helped me out.
And I gotta give, so any, like, a person who's like, man, what am I need? What do I need? What am I missing? And you, because you have done such a great job of executing. Um, Executing doesn't mean you do everything perfect. Executing
Right.
means you you create a plan through conversation. Like, that's why I was like, I don't have a plan to sell anybody. I don't have a you know a template or a diet. What I have is, we'll talk, we figure it out, what you want to do, we build that plan, you take that plan, execute it, and when you go into the real world, the plan breaks apart.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how you actually, you know do it, quote unquote, perfectly. Because when it breaks apart, then we have those conversations, and then you make the adjustments, because your so-called plan is a living, adaptable, resilient thing. It's not, you know here, this is the magic formula, and do this because Ranbir says so.
Right.
um and okay, so tell me about, so speaking of, like, taking it into the real world, I think it would be helpful for somebody to hear, like, your those that time period of when you went to Portugal and all that, like,
Mm-hmm.
um
Yeah. Yeah. That's something that had really made me nervous, And then the funny thing was when I mean, I sent you a message. Usually you and I will message back and forth or just text back and forth. But I was like nervous to the point where I sent you a coffee, a coffee because I wanted to like talk to you about it, about how I was feeling about it. But and then the funny thing was when I got off the phone with you, I was like, that's it? Like he's not gonna give me any tips, he's not gonna run down all this stuff. And you're like, all you did was laugh. You were like, I can't wait for you to come back.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I was like, but I'm nervous about going. And you were just like, wait, just wait till you come back. You're gonna be shocked. And I came back, I lost weight.
yep,
I was still losing, and it wasn't as hard as I thought. The only thing that was a little like, and it was just different, is all. It wasn't I didn't feel nervous about it or have any anxiety over it, but I was used to weighing myself every day and I couldn't weigh myself when I was away.
exactly. And even despite that, like, you ended up coming back lighter than when you left.
Mhm.
What
And that was
I
because you told me, because you had, when we talked, you told me just to focus on, you said, you can take MyFitnessPal anywhere you go in the world. So
Yep,
just focus on, just continue to put, enter your calories, even if you're not sure. Just enter in what you think it is, and it worked. Like, it wasn't a problem. I didn't have. It was nothing compared to what I was worried about.
and, and so, I mean, I don't even remember all the details of what our conversation was, but I think it was some, like, I wanted you to, like, you didn't, I don't know what you were looking for. I don't remember, like, what, you're just nervous, and you're
I
just
wanted
like, what,
tips.
like,
I
what do
was
you,
like,
oh
don't
yeah,
you
yeah,
have
that's
any
right, you
tips?
wanted tips,
I'm
that's
like, you
right.
don't have any tips, any shortcuts, any things, I was thinking of all these crazy things in my head, like tips, how to eat things, what to do. I was just
Yeah,
all over the place. And you just laughed. You just laughed. You said, I just can't wait for you to go and come back. And you said, all I want you to do is enjoy the experience and learn from it. Don't worry about it.
exactly, yep.
That
And
was good.
the being the all of the anxiety, because all that thinking and worrying, that's actually nothing. Like
Nothing.
it isn't actually a thing, because even if you take a question of like, oh well, I don't know what to eat, blah blah blah. Well,
Yeah.
how about, how about you just go, you eat something that you want to eat, take a picture of it,
Mm-hmm.
do your best to track it.
Yep.
I'll send you my notes on like like that's what I call that's what we call like reviewing the game tape, right? Like I can't tell you what you did wrong if you haven't gotten or I can't tell you what to change or if it was good or if it wasn't good unless you actually go do it and then have something to show, right?
You were so right. I mean, I did. There was nothing to worry about. I would just take it day by day. I just ate. I enjoyed myself. I didn't like, I mean, I still had a goal, and the goal was still the goal. But I eased up a little bit. You gave me a little bit more carbs to work with, and it was fine. It worked out. It was anxiety for no reason, and you said that, but I couldn't. I don't think there was anything really that you could say. But I mean, I remember the last thing you said to me was just go enjoy yourself and just be mindful, and it would, and it worked. You were right. You said you have nothing to be concerned about.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, physics works everywhere. So like, and you've done enough stuff now, tracking and weighing and all this,
Yeah.
where you know what things have a lot of calories: oil, butter, greasy things. I
Yeah.
mean, you have the knowledge base to be able to navigate, right? So it's like it's not like you're gonna go to Mars and you're experiencing different laws of physics. Even in Mars,
Hmm.
you're still experiencing
Yeah.
the same physics. Like,
Yeah.
and like you're not in a different parallel universe where, you know, a gram of fat is 45 calories. It's no, it's still 9 calories, whether it comes in a nice package in Safeway or it's a tablespoon of butter in Portugal. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
and just being able to understand those things brings, that's what I like to call the sea of calm, and or the oasis of calm in the sea of chaos, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
um
Yeah. You were, and you know what I really like was when you just said, you know what, if anything at all, even if you were to gain back some weight or whatever, or if you stayed the same or whatever happens when you come back, it's the experience and going through it so that for the next time, so
yeah, I mean, like, how are you supposed to get good at something if you don't do it? So you,
you have this way of being just so calm about shit. And I get off the phone and I'm like, this fucking guy is so calm and everything's just so fucking easy.
well, if you only knew, if you only knew.
So I thought
But
to myself, I could just imagine what he must think my first call or I have a question.
well, you know what? The thing that I try to have everybody see is like just juxtapose things and put them side by side, because then it becomes really obvious, and like almost silly, the things that we do. Like, didn't we talk about like drinking or wine when you were on
Yes.
vacation? Like,
Yeah. I was drinking Sangira, and you were like Sangira, and you were like, don't worry about it. Just, but
yeah,
you know what I noticed? Like I don't really drink a lot unless I'm doing something social. I might have a couple glasses of wine or something, but I did realize, I don't like to drink my calories.
yep, yep. See, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that shows up. Like, do I really get what amount of enjoyment do I get from becoming just absurdly drunk, which is what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
People like grown adults
Hmm.
will just get obliterated, and then they're like, you know, like, okay, well, if you're gonna want to lose some fat, you're gonna need to cut back on, your alcohol, because that's easy calories plus
Hmm.
those calories. The side effects of that, when you're drunk, they make you want to eat other
Yeah.
high calorie things, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's like, if you weigh out what enjoyment you get from that, and
Hmm.
then what enjoyment would you get from just experiencing, a pleasant buzz with maybe one drink or two drinks. Which one would you prefer, and are you actually getting so much more benefit from being that drunk? And if
Right.
anybody's honest, like, you're not really getting that enjoyment, you know.
No, no. So one or two drinks work for me. So that's never a problem. But I hear a lot of people, like I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff, and I have a lot of people concerned that they can't drink 5 beer or something, or have like 7 drinks for the night. I'm thinking, boy,
It's
I'm glad that's not me.
that's just like, I mean, this is why I'm like, I don't do shit for the mass,
Hmm.
for the audience or anything like that, because like, that's just stupid. And well, here's the thing, and there's no judgment in that. It's like, look, if you want to get fucking drunk and you want to
Hmm.
drink 6 beers a night, and you want to have, a different craft brew fucking beer because that's your thing, well, guess what? Those things have calories, and that's totally fine. But
Yeah.
understand the trade off that you make. You don't need to be fucking lean. You don't need to be strong. You don't need to be anything.
Hmm.
The moral judgment that people put on it is what causes all the problems. Like just when you take away that drama, all of a sudden it just becomes a preference. Like, what would I like? Would I like to drink beers, or would I like to get lean and maybe have a beer? You know,
Right. Yeah.
and
But that was my exactly my thought process. I was just thinking, what, because at the end of the day, even if you're having a weekend away or you're out on vacation, I mean, yes, I'm going to enjoy myself, and I'm not going to. I don't want to put myself in a, you know, I don't want to be in jail and be on this weight loss
yeah,
journey, because if I put myself in that position, then I'm not going to last. I know it.
no,
you know
it,
and I think
it,
this is why I've lasted this long, is because you've kind of taught me how to. I've never been on a diet, if you want to call it a diet, or this journey. I've never started it and went through it, eating everything and anything that I've always eaten.
yep.
So I think this is why I've been able, and then thought of it as a slower process than I do everything really fast. I mean, that's the nature. That's just and that's, I think it's because of the work that I do.
Which
Everything
by
is
the
fast
way,
paced. Yeah.
like, share a little bit about what your work is.
So because I'm an executive chef, I'm around food 24/7. I mean, I taste food for a living. So just imagine how hard, or I mean, it's not hard. So I'm not even going to say that. It used to be hard. It is, since I've met you, it's no longer hard.
Yep.
So I'll start there. But there's temptations around me all day long.
Yep.
I've had to configure and do things and have my assistant taste, or just go by. Sometimes I can go by the look now. I just know when things are going to be good. So I had to adjust in all areas, not just, and it's not easy. And things are stressful. It's like you're in this constant stressful environment. Everything is fast moving. It's hot. Everybody's moving. It's fast paced. So I have to like get my walk in too. So sometimes I'll just leave the office and I'll go and I'll walk around the building.
And
So I gotta find, being in this job, it's not easy when you're trying to lose weight.
yeah, no. But here's the thing. I, I like what you said, that you were saying it's hard, but then you're like, actually, it's not hard.
Not.
The thing that we confuse hard when we say something is hard, what we're actually saying is, I haven't actually had enough repetitions to be good at the particular thing. Because on the other end of all the repetitions and the understanding and the, going into the truth deeper and deeper, which rarely has anything to do with calories or diets, it's how we think. On the
Mm.
other side of that, it is easy,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
And I mean, what might be difficult for vast majority of people is now easy for you and I,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Going on vacation,
Mm-hmm.
working in the food, working literally in the kitchen, which most people would be like, oh, I can't lose weight like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can't, because you haven't tried and you don't know anything, which is
Yeah.
fine.
I hear people complaining, like, people, but every time at lunch, people are ordering food and they're sitting at their desk. I'm thinking, imagine working around food and tasting food for a living. Then you got something to worry about,
Yeah, and
you
I
know?
mean, and here's the other question, like, how are the reviews of your food? Like,
Oh, I mean, fine.
people love it.
Yeah.
Otherwise you would be out of a job. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. Nothing has changed. You know, first of all, I've never gone this long. I mean, we're at 7 months. I have never been in a position until I met you. So I am so grateful because it's just not hard. In fact, I enjoy it every day. As crazy as this seems, I'm not sure how other people view weighing their food or tracking and measure, weighing food and tracking food and weighing every day. I actually enjoy it, if that as crazy as that might seem.
It's only crazy from the context or perspective of you know what society or culture or other people would have us think, or even the fitness industry. There's a lot of this stuff in the fitness industry where it's like, oh, are you tired of having to weigh your food? Like nobody actually thinks for themselves. And if you enjoy something, why does it matter what you should be doing, right? Like, there
Right.
is no should. uh, you know I told you when we talked, I'm like, and I don't know if you noticed, like, I don't really even post that much anymore because I'm just not interested. Like, if somebody doesn't want to lose fat and do it in a very easy, enjoyable way, I don't
Mm.
care. Like, it's totally fine.
I love
Like,
what you said.
I'm not gonna be butthurt because you don't want to do what I think is very effective and fun. Like, what do I care,
I
right?
read these really long posts. I mean, long posts. Okay, so they start this whole thing, and then I see yours. It's like 3 sentences, and it just spits me right back into. It's hilarious. I was done. I was like this guy.
Well, it's interesting because if you go back through my posts, I mean, I was that guy too. Like, oh, this, people should be healthy and people should do this and blah blah blah. Like, it's just an exhausting way to live. And in my own opinion, I think it's not very enjoyable or useful to anybody. It's not useful to me because I get, I mean, if you talk to anybody, like, chances are if you talk to somebody in the fitness industry or somebody who's like doing a diet or whatever, they'll tell you all about how what they know and how people should be doing this, and they can't believe that people are XYZ. It's fucking exhausting.
But it's simple. I mean, you make it really simple. It's physics. There's nothing else to say after that.
Yeah,
You know,
it it really is. I mean,
every time I hear you say that, I'm just like, okay, get back on it, Monique. I mean, there's no other way.
that there really isn't. I mean, atoms. It's atoms. You eat
Yeah.
too many atoms, now you have more atoms on you.
You know what has changed? I kind of got stuck in the. So I was 207, and then now I'm like 172.8. But I got stuck in this 176, 175 for a couple of weeks, I think. I think maybe it was a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But so I kind of, I think I'm at a place now. I think maybe what can I tweak?
Yep.
I don't want to change what I'm eating. I don't want to. So I'm not going to do that kind of, because I think about that all the time. Obviously, is to what I can speed this up
Yep.
easy. In a couple of weeks, I can be at my goal in a couple of weeks. I don't want to do that because I want to continue to do this forever. And I feel like if I start getting back into that mindset, I don't want to blow what I'm doing now, right?
Yep. And
But I tweaked some stuff. I started walking. I know some people are like, how the hell is she getting 15 and 6 and 17,000 steps. Well, because obviously I'm walking, I have 3 restaurants that I'm responsible for. So I'm walking between those restaurants. I kind of work in a building that's it's almost like a resort. So I have to walk a couple of it's I got to do a lot of walking to get to each of the restaurants, and I have to check on them all through service. So that's through lunch service and then through dinner service. So I'm constantly moving, and then I'm also doing my own, like, so when I get out of work, for to wind down, I go out in nature and I take a long walk. I walk for
Yep.
about an hour. So I'm doubling what probably a normal sedative person sitting at a desk job would be doing, right?
Oh,
So it's not that I'm
more
doing any
than
better than
doubling,
anybody
more than
else.
doubling.
Yeah.
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 But here's the thing. Like I wanted, this is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
In At the end of July, okay,
Yeah.
your average. So this is part of the thing that, learning how to actually look at numbers and not just lose your mind is such a
Mm-hmm.
valuable skill, because, and we always talk about it, it with the financial analogy, because sometimes it just helps to see it in a different domain, because with food and weight loss, we have so much emotion that it's just sometimes difficult. We have to like see it in a little bit less charged domain, and then we can come back.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of July, your average for the week was like 178.
Mm-hmm.
Then you were and then you were 177.8 for the next 7 days, and then 177.6.
Mm-hmm.
So you're, for a normal person would be like, oh my God, I only went down by 0.2 pounds over
Mm-hmm.
this. I need to do more shit.
Mm-hmm.
You went down to 176.8 the following week for the average. And by the
Mm-hmm.
way, in there, your weight's fluctuating all over the place, right? You had
Yeah.
178s, 177s.
Yeah. I
Um,
remember that was the 11 days. That was the week I started panicking. That's the week
exactly.
I called you.
And so here's the thing. Then here's where most people would have lost their minds and then just would have thrown in the towel or done something stupid. You went from 176.8, you
Mm-hmm.
went up to 177.34, and then 177.46. So for 2 weeks, your average went up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
remember that time. And you know what that was? So I already knew that there was a lot of, and I don't like to use this stuff, but I'm just thinking about it. I never think, oh, was stressed. I had a stressful day, so I ate over my calories. Or, oh, I never say that stuff. I just didn't do what I was supposed to do.
there you go.
That's it.
It was just physics.
Yeah, it's just physics.
If you tend to get a little bit like, if you want to start estimating a little bit and not weighing,
Yeah. I remember
things.
telling you, I think I said to you, I'm getting a little lazy or I'm getting a little lax. Like I'm not, or I
Exactly.
feel like maybe it's the 6 months. It's been like a long time. I think I'm just starting to feel a little like,
Yep.
wanted this to be over. But I'm walking further now. I'm walking more now. I just said to myself, okay, you know what I'm going to do? We're just going to get back on track and we're going to do a little tweak. What we're going to do now, I would just eat whatever I wanted. I would add everything. I would eat right to my calories. But now I just changed it up. I'm not like some of the snacking that I've been doing or some of the things that I've been eating. I'm just like, uh, I'm not eating it, not for no reason or not because I'm depriving myself. I'm just not. And I just added a couple more steps for the day, walking a little further because my walk that I do now for the hour, it's about, I want to say 4 miles,
Yep.
just about 4 miles. Well, I started walking 4.5 to 5 miles now. And I think that's the difference over the last couple of weeks. I just kind of tweaked things a little bit.
Well, I wouldn't say it's even a tweak. You were just going back to doing what you were doing,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
I got a little lax for a little bit. And I said to myself, it's okay. You've been doing this for 7 months now. It's bound to happen at some point.
And this part is very important. When you have been doing Like when people like, oh, it's not working. I'm like, okay, and are you doing the exact thing that I told you? Like, mostly, so you're not doing it. So I'm not going to tell you anything because that's like me shooting in the dark. If you tell me I'm doing exactly what you told me to do or what our
Hmm.
plan is,
Yep.
then it's not working, then we can make a decision here. But
Hmm.
if I'm working, it's like I'm working in the dark. If you're doing something else and then I'm like trying to fix it, no,
Hmm.
I'm not going to fix shit until you
Right.
first, because there's nothing to fix. Because the reason that somebody it wouldn't be working is because they're actually eating more calories
Yeah.
than what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so having that moment, which there's nothing wrong with that. I go through that. Everybody goes through that. The
See, I'm
difference is
so
in
hard
how
on
they
myself
approach.
when that happens.
And well, you're not the only one. It's humans being
Okay.
humans, right? Like
Okay.
this is all about human behavior. That's all it is. Like in that moment, we go, "Oh, why is my weight fluctuating so wildly?" Oh, it's because I'm not actually eating quadrant 1 foods or phase 1 foods.
Hmm.
I'm actually estimating quite a bit
Yeah.
and adding things where it's a little bit more difficult for me to be accurate.
Hmm.
And so all I need to so obviously there's more calories coming in. So if I just go back to doing the thing, if I would like, we'll see what happens. And inevitably it always goes back to physics works the same in every scenario. It doesn't change. The only thing that changes, you're just eating more calories, right?
Right.
And so that that's a very important point, which again you handled beautifully because we had a conversation
Hmm.
and
I just
then
felt
you
myself. I
educated.
felt I was kind of fighting myself too. It was very strange for me to be in that position too. It was the first time within the amount of time that we spent together. It was the first time I was like struggling back and forth with myself to get back
Yeah,
on track. And now so that's why I ended up reaching out to you and saying, "Listen, I just need you to get me back help me get my shit together."
yeah. Well, and I'm always gonna, I don't. My goal is not to tell anybody what they should do. It's just to hold up the mirror and let you see for yourself. Because like I don't remember if I said this to you, but this is what I think I would have said. But it would be like, look, you're eating more calories, and you're gonna gain. Your weight's not gonna go down as predictably.
Hmm.
That's fine. Like that's your choice.
Yep.
And if you prefer to continue to lose weight, then you know what you need to do. And if not, that's fine. Either way. But
Yeah. I
we just
mean, you've made it just so easy to do. I mean, I've never gotten to the place where I've just went crazy. Now, when I'm talking about going over my calories and not really, um, my weight not coming down for that period of time, it's never like going into like 2,000, 2,500 calories or 3,000 calories.
no.
I'm talking about going like 300 over or
Yeah.
100, 200 over that. So when I say that I was struggling there for a minute, I'm not talking about like just blowing it out of the water.
Yeah, which we talk about all these concepts, right? Like
Yeah.
as long as you're as long as you don't blow yourself up and keep yourself in the game, you're gonna
Hmm.
win, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're investing over a course of 10 years and then you don't do something stupid along the way, you're going to be a very rich person. Like you literally don't have to do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people, they get impatient, they get freaked out. Let's say, part of those 10 years happens to be 2008, they freak out and they sell
Mm.
their investments because they don't want to lose any more money. Well, you just blew yourself up.
Yeah.
If you had held on literally for another year or two,
Hmm.
you would have seen all of your losses regained plus.
But you, like what you make it very easy not to blow yourself up, though, because there's nothing that I haven't eaten that I was like, I'm concerned about not having, or I've been depriving myself from. I've anything I want. It's just I calories. It's a no brainer and it's so easy. And that's why I'm still going strong after this so many months. I never would have thought that this was possible. I have never gone past, I've either lost all the weight I wanted to lose within 3, 4 months or a couple of months. Or if I was still going at this point and I didn't lose the weight that I wanted to lose, I would have given up already. And I would be into that whole situation where people say, I'll just start again next week.
Yep.
I've already screwed up. Have not done that. You've made it so easy to the point where I've never had to do that. And that is surprising for me, like shocking.
Because we didn't operate on the tactics. We changed the frameworks of how you're actually being. Like what do you what's your frame of looking at things? Like what mental models are you using? Like regardless if people know or not, they're using mental models. And they're most of the time they're using ones that are not very useful or helpful to them. Um and that's all we want to do. Like I want to create a mental model for myself or use one that benefits me. That's all. Like
So amazing. Amazing. And I know for you, you've been doing it for so long and with so many people. So I don't even think that you even think of it on that way. But honestly, it's like, I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate just the things that we talk about and the things that you've shown me and the little tools that you've given me to go on for this long. Just amazing. And I can imagine that you can't even really grasp to the level that I say this at, because it's wow. I mean, it
well
blows my mind every day when I'm thinking about it.
I
It's-
I can't in words. I can tell you that much. It's very difficult for me. That's why I'm always so like uh nitpicky with words, but it's very difficult for me to express what I feel as well.
Mhm.
Um but yeah, I mean, like I told you, like I if I could just have a magic wand and just be like, give me more Moniques, like I'm cool with that. Like even the conversations, when you're freaking out, like those are great. That's fantastic. You
Yeah.
know, because here's the thing. I think the reason that this works, which I told you at the beginning, is because I don't actually I don't need anybody. As far as like I don't need somebody to sign up with me. I don't
Mhm.
care. And that allows me to be like, I'm not gonna I will not give any bullshit or marketing fluff or anything that's like I will only seek the truth and only have conversations with you that are oriented towards the truth. Because if you started talking to me about supplements and you're just adamant about what supplement you need, I'm just gonna be like dude, this is not gonna work. Like I'm not interested in working with you.
Yeah, I
And
don't think we've ever talked about supplements.
we haven't.
I think the only thing we talked about was in the beginning. I remember in the early stages of the beginning, I was struggling to get my protein in, and you were like, "Well, if you have to use protein shakes,
Yep.
protein drinks," and
Yep.
that really helped me. By the way, I use 2 scoops in the morning every morning, and it really helps me get started.
Well, I mean, it's all about making life easy. Like I
Hmm.
have my current target is 220 for protein.
Wow.
As much as I love to eat meat and cook and like this is my favorite thing to do, to be honest. Um, Sometimes it's just easier to knock out 60, 70 grams with a shake, and then
Yeah.
now I can just chill and enjoy a normal size steak rather than having to eat
Yeah.
two giant steaks.
And I thought, I wonder what he's gonna have. beginning, we were talking. I think it was the first couple of weeks we started talking. You talked to me a little bit about food and what I was eating and things like that. And I think I said to you, I said to you one day, and I couldn't. It was on my mind all day after that. You said, what do you eat for lunch?" And I said, "I usually eat a salad." And you were like, "A salad? Do you like?" And then you were like, "Do you like salad?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I like salad." You're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And
Well,
then you were like, I'm having a donut." I'm like, "Donuts?" Like, I remember you saying, "Yeah, if you like donuts, eat donuts." I was like, "Can I eat a donut?" And I
yeah.
started thinking about this stuff. And then, so then I started adding in the things that I like. And I thought, holy shit. Like the next morning I got up and lost weight. I was like, wow, I
Well,
didn't know I could eat that.
that's the thing. It's like I don't like I'm not trying to like tell people, "Oh, go eat donuts, go eat this," cuz those are things that I like. But the point of that question of asking you like, "Do you actually like salad?" is because do you even know why you're, and most of the time people will pretend unknowingly, "Oh yeah, I'm trying to be healthy." They're eating all these salads, not losing weight, being miserable.
Yeah.
uh and it's like they're only doing that because somewhere in life they have learned that salad equals fat loss,
Hmm.
and they haven't thought anything beyond that. They actually don't even like salads, but they're out there ordering these fucking disgusting salads, like, and nobody questions it, like, "Oh
You
yeah, salad, it's good." What the fuck? Where
you were like, salad? Do you like salads?
it's like that girl, I was listening to a conversation and she's like, "Yeah, I prefer to be vegan for health and ethical reasons, but I'm not very strict." And I'm like, "Do you even know what you're saying? Like, you have no clue what you're doing in your life. You're just a robot."
I remember doing all that kind of stuff. I remember being on a juice. I did a juice fast for 30 days and lost 30 pounds.
Jesus.
And then I just gained it all back because I deprived myself of everything,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
uh, I have enjoyed last however many months, and you're this is you're. By the way, we won't even dive into this, but like we've the talk that we've been doing, 99.9% of people be like, "What is that even? Like, what are you even doing? It's not even a workout." And so I look forward to what you'll be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coasting through now. I think the only thing that I'm getting a little like not nervous about, but I'm starting to think about I'm starting to think ahead now into the next chapter because I'm about to hit a place where I could start want to start lifting weights and getting stronger in terms of more muscle building and things like that. So my only concern is how am I going to stay steady on my weight, like not like I think weight maintenance sounds a little more scarier than losing weight because it's going to be more of a balance.
Yeah. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah. you know I mean, every time. This is like for the last 7 months. I can't, you won't let me go ahead and talk about anything. It's just like, yep, we'll get there. Just stay where you are, stay focused. I love it. I love it.
That's the way to just enjoy everything, because if I answered every, and this is, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the questions that I get. If I answered every like stupid question that I got, I would never have time for anything. Like just because your brain could not filter out or create a question that is useful and it comes out of your mouth doesn't mean I'm going to answer it. And which is
Yeah.
that's all right. Like what do I care? Um, but so side note for you. and this is so. This is like a very. I doubt that there's any podcast like this because literally, I'm not even like I don't really. This is just a conversation, really, kind of reviewing what we've been doing and why it's effective. But so, and I'm probably gonna do. I'll post in the group. We'll probably do like a Zoom where everybody can kind of join if they want. But yeah, lifting is going to be the right way to lift weights. It's gonna you're gonna like forget about maintenance. We're not there yet. Like we're not gonna
No.
because we don't even know what that looks like, and we don't lifting is going to skyrocket doing.
I
Uh,
think I'm losing you.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, anyways, we'll do that lifting workshop before we break down a plan for you to actually start lifting. And again, it's gonna be super
Okay.
simple,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be like I'm super pumped for you to see what happens. Um, we always talk about clarity, certainty, and then collapsing time. This piece is the collapsing time part, because when you lift properly, it is actually even more metabolically demanding, meaning we need to use more calories in order to uh, provide the energy for those activities. So I'm excited to get into that and share that.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited for the next piece of this. I mean, I'm just coasting through. I'm good now when it comes to all the tools that you've given me and losing weight and maintaining that stuff. So
So
the next chapter is exciting for me. I'm thinking about getting there. Not quite yet there. Yeah.
we'll have to do a follow up for uh, once we get into the department. But my fault. Uh, I apologize. I
I think I'm losing you again.
maybe.
Are
And
you still
can you
there?
hear me? Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Uh-huh.
So, last, any parting words of I'm not even gonna say advice, like anything you want to say before we wrap it up.
No, just gratitude. Gratitude for sure. And I greatly appreciate everything, every conversation, every question answered. I mean, it's just been a delight working with you. Seriously.
I my words, but you and those, and we will talk very.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you, Monique.
All
I'll
right.
talk to you
Take
later.
care. Have a good day.